Hi guys, it's been a while. Hope you're enjoying your lockdown due to the virus, or some of you may be on the verge of killing your partner, one or the other. So I'm doing this video as a follow on from the article I sent out to you. I'm not going to go too much into the article, but what we want to do is to strengthen the lungs, strengthen the spleen and strengthen the kidneys. And you can do all three with a type of breathing that I'm going to go through. So we really want to, in Chinese medicine it said the kidneys grab hold of the lungs and pull it down. This is the type of breathing we want to do as naturally as possible. So the more you practice, the more it's going to be your natural state of breathing. If you just do it once and go, yeah, that feels great, it's going to have very little. It's a bit like some sort of lung expansion type exercises. It's fine, they're great, they've got their place, but it's not going to cement the qi and the lungs down into the dantian. So unlike acupuncture, where they might have a fine needle and they might say for your stomach stick it in part of the leg, lower down in stomach 6 for instance, to activate that meridian line, or stomach 36 is a very popular one. With Qigong we are working the area of the body, so it's the spleen and the stomach. I know the spleen and the stomach are off centre, but it's like we're tonifying the same area. So to start off with, I just want you to get the correct seating. So we don't want to be, have you noticed I'm on the edge of the sofa, I'm not laid back at all, because I want to make sure I can have my spine nice and straight. My Ming Men is natural, and my crown of the head is reaching for the stars, tongue on top of the mouth. So to get going, we want to just sit for a second or two, just to find that alignment. You can do it cross-legged on the floor, on a cushion, on a zafu, on a meditation stool, it doesn't matter, but anything that makes sure your spine comes straight up and to the crown of the head. If you just relax your arms down by the side, bend your elbows to 90 degrees and just lap over the hands, and what it should do is be placed right on the solar plexus area. And we just want to, you can either have your eyes open or closed, but we just really want to concentrate our mind on that area where the hands are. So we just breathe naturally, we don't force it. We don't try and do anything with our breath, we just allow the breath to become natural and to maintain its natural state. What will happen over time is that the breath will naturally start to come down, drop down and become slower and deeper. But we don't want to force it. It's very, very important not to force it. You don't need to think about your mind drawing in there, taking it down, spiralling, anything like that. We just want it to become natural. So just take a moment to try and find your centre. So your centre of gravity, which is normally slightly higher around the heart area or just below. We just want to pay attention to where we're breathing from. Are we breathing high into the chest, or are we breathing low? So for me, I'm so used to breathing fairly low, then it's quite easy. But for you, you may want to take some time just to make sure you're not raising the chest at all when you're breathing. So we're just going to take the awareness down to the hands and feel the expansion of the hands as we breathe in, and then the release as we breathe out. Just a natural breath. So you find some of you may be breathing 8, 10, 12 times a minute. My natural breath is probably about 5 breaths a minute, 5, 6. And when I go into meditation, it quite often will drop down to about 4. Not that we're counting, but just to give you a guideline. And now I'm just going to bring my awareness to my belly, right directly underneath my hands. So it's just awareness. And we're going to take a couple of minutes just doing that. And then I want you to take the awareness just beneath the skin of the belly. So it's in the same location of the hands, but just beneath the skin, just inside. And that's all the awareness I want you to go. So I just want you to bring your awareness there. And as time goes on, you'll naturally find how the breath will slow down as the mind slows down. The breath will start to fall as the kidneys start to grasp it down. So I suggest 10-15 minutes of breathing, having your awareness on the solar plexus and breathe in your natural state. After that, we want to move the hands down to the lower dantian, 2 to 3 fingers below the navel, but don't worry too much. Making sure we keep all the alignments, and we're going to do exactly the same. Bringing the awareness first to the expansion of the belly. Don't force. Then bring the awareness to the just underneath the hands, and then underneath the skin of the lower belly, just below the dantian, just underneath the skin, around the dantian area. And then we breathe nice and low into that area. Again, feeling the expansion as we breathe in and the release as we breathe out. And you might want to do that for a further 10 minutes. And that's it really. So after you've done this exercise, we're going to go into the more advanced exercise, which is reverse breathing. So to explain reverse breathing, as I breathe in normally, the belly expands. As I breathe out, the belly collapses. Breathe in, expand, breathe out, belly contracts. So this is normal way of breathing. So reverse breathing is the opposite. But there is a difference, there is a skill to it. So as we breathe out, the belly expands as we breathe in. The belly contracts as we breathe out. The belly expands as we breathe in. The belly contracts. Now if you notice, if I use my abdominal walls here, as I take in the in-breath, you'll notice that my chest is rising. So we don't want to do that. So on the out-breath, when the belly expands, we've got to try and find a way to keep the breath nice and low into the dantian. We don't want any rising of the chest as we breathe in. And the way you do that is through the abdominal cavity. So this is the little trick. So if I contract my abdominal walls by breathing in and breathing out, okay, this is my abdominal walls on the outside contracting. What we want to do is imagine a cavity within the abdominal walls. And it's that cavity that we're contracting to breathe in. So as we breathe in, we're closing the cavity around the dantian, and as we breathe out, we can just release and let go, because the breathing out's the easiest bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna get into that for a second. Okay, so you've now noticed that on my in-breath there's very little rise of the chest, and there's very little movement of my abdominals, and that's because I'm using my mind-body connections to I suppose suck the air in from my abdomen. So it's like a balloon collapsing inside as I'm breathing into my lungs. This keeps the lung and the breath really low, and also sends the qi down to the dantian. So this is it's quite tricky, but this is what we're aiming to do. As we breathe in, we sort of suck in our inner cavity, and we breathe out, we just release. There can be movement on the out breath, that's absolutely fine. And that's the exercise. So you might do that for a further 10 minutes. This is really going to help build your immunity, draw the lungs down into the lower abdomen, really benefit the diaphragm, which is also going to make it more yielding, less rigid, which means you're going to get more air, so your breath will become slow and deeper. It also sends more nutrients and more qi to the spleen. So your spleen can work more effectively, taking nutrients out of the food. And the lower dantian, which is not very often noticed, is very much has an effect on the kidneys as well. So all this area here is really pulling down through the kidneys, so your kidneys are going to also get more qi, more blood flow. So the general health. Lungs, spleen, kidneys, all three working efficiently. Your wei qi is going to be really strong, and your immunity is going to go through the roof. Just doing this exercise is once a week is not going to be enough. If you really want to strengthen your immunity, unfortunately you've got to practice. So daily, if you really want to go for it, twice a day. Once in the morning and once before bed. It'll really calm the mind down as well before bed. Or you could do, bi-daily would be okay, every other day. So if you want to start off doing that, that would be okay. But you'll really benefit from this exercise regarding your immunity. It won't be immediate, like I wrote in the article. With Qigong, we basically tonify the whole area. But this is the quickest exercise that I know, there might be others, that will help to boost up immunity. There's lots of other exercises that would help, but if you've got less than 2 years, 3 years, 5 years practice, the effects aren't going to be as dramatic as maybe it would be for me if I did the exercises. So this is going to be the most beneficial way that I know, and the quickest way I know to build up your immunity to help fight viruses and the Corona-19. So I hope that's okay. I hate doing videos, so if I'm mumbling then I do apologise, but there you go. So hopefully see you soon. Thank you.